Hey guys, it's Alicia. Today I have another Weight Watcher friendly recipe for you, and that is for taco salad. Now, taco salad is something that I've been eating pretty much my whole life. My mom used to make a version of this very, very similar to what I'm gonna be making, and it's just very good stuff. And with just a little bit of tweaking, you can make it definitely way more Weight Watcher friendly. So that's what I'm gonna do today, and I'm gonna show you how I do that. So let me start with the ingredients. The first and probably one of the main changes that I did to this to make it a little more Weight Watcher friendly is to use a very lean ground turkey instead of hamburger. I think when my mom made it back in the day, she used hamburger. Well, I know she did, and I'm sure it wasn't very lean hamburger. So I'm using a very lean turkey, and that's going to bring the points down all by itself. As for the chips that are gonna go into this, I'm using Doritos. Now, they used to make a lower fat or a baked or something, I don't know what it was, but it was more Weight Watcher friendly than your classic Doritos. I can't find those anymore, so I'm still gonna use regular Doritos, but I'm just gonna use less of them, and so that's gonna make a big difference with the points too. Also, I'm gonna be using a can of black beans. I don't think my mom ever used black beans in hers, or any type of beans, maybe she did. But I like adding beans. They do add some points, actually, but they're a great way to get a little extra protein and fiber in, and so I like to add them to different things like this. Then you're gonna need some taco seasoning. McCormick is kind of my go-to taco seasoning. Some Italian dressing. You can also use Catalina if you want, but I'm using fat-free. I already mentioned the Doritos. And then back here, I've got some Mexican style blend shredded cheese reduced fat. Now this is a 40% less fat cheese. I've been getting this at Kroger and I've been liking it quite a bit. Down here, I've got 2 bags of this Fresh Express Sweethearts, and it's just a sweet butter and romaine hearts. Now traditionally with this taco salad, you would use a head of iceberg lettuce, I believe. And I could have done that and have done that in the past, but I just think this stuff is way better for you than iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce has pretty much not a whole lot of nutritional value going on. It's basically just water. Well, I mean, all lettuce is, but the greener, the better as far as vitamins and all that kind of stuff when it comes to veggies. So I tend to not really use the iceberg a whole lot. Plus these are on sale, so I'm gonna use 2 bags of this, which is 9 ounces a bag. So I'm using 18 ounces of that instead of a head of iceberg lettuce. But you could definitely use iceberg if you want. Like I said, that's the traditional way of doing this, but I'm not going to this time. So down here, I have got half of a red onion chopped and a little bit of green onion. I love my onion, and so I will probably add additional onion to my personal serving, but nobody else likes the onions like I do in my family, so that's all I'm gonna be putting in the salad itself. And then the tomatoes, you would traditionally put tomatoes in the salad, but my husband hates fresh tomatoes, so I'm gonna leave this out and I'm just gonna add that to my serving and probably my son's serving too. But again, traditionally that would go in the salad. And then here, I've got a little cilantro. I will probably add a little bit of that in the salad, but I'm definitely gonna garnish with this too. Cilantro is one of those things, it seems like people either love or hate. We all like it in this family, but I have heard people say that it tastes like soap. I don't know, it's interesting. It's kind of a love or hate thing with cilantro. Let me know in the comments what you think of cilantro, because I love it personally. But anyway, this will be probably in and as garnish for the salad. And that is all that you're gonna need to make this. So let me get started and show you how I do this. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my meat cooking. So I've got a large frying pan here, and I'm gonna just spritz it with a little bit of olive oil because this is not nonstick and my turkey is lean, so I don't want it sticking really badly to the pan. So I'm gonna add in my turkey. And I'm gonna just let that cook until it is fully cooked. All right, this turkey is cooked, so now I'm gonna add in my taco seasoning, and I'm gonna just add in a couple tablespoons of this. And then I'm also gonna add in, and I forgot to show this in the ingredients, some rotel. So just diced tomatoes and green chilies. Now, I will have all the ingredients and the instructions down below, which is what I usually try to do with my recipe videos. I'm gonna stir that in there. And then I'm gonna take my black beans, which I have drained and rinsed. I'm gonna dump those in there. And actually I'm gonna add just a little bit of water to this can and dump that in. Probably about a quarter cup worth of water. So now I'm gonna just mix this all together and let it kind of just cook for a couple minutes. And I don't know if I said before, but I've got my heat on medium. And I'm gonna just keep it on that. So I'm gonna let this cook for about a minute or two. Okay, I've let that cook a couple minutes. Now I'm gonna just turn the heat off and take it off the heat and just set it aside while I do the rest of this. So next, I'm gonna take one of these bags of lettuce and I'm gonna dump it in here. Now I'm gonna add my dressing. I'm gonna add a cup of this, or 8 ounces. So I'm gonna pour this in here. And I'm gonna give that a quick stir. Okay, now I'm gonna add in my onions. And again, if you were making this for somebody who didn't hate tomatoes, like my husband does, then you would dump the tomatoes in at this point too, but I'm going to keep mine aside. So I'm gonna add a little bit of the cilantro too, not a whole lot. And then I'm gonna stir this all together. All right, now I'm gonna dump in 4 ounces of that cheese and mix that in. Okay, now that I've got all the stuff mixed in that I'm gonna be mixing in other than the meat mixture, I'm gonna add a little more lettuce, probably half of this bag. I would like to get it all in there. That's not fitting very well. I wish I had a bigger bowl. And then I would definitely dump that all in there because I always like to get as many veggies into things as I can, because it just makes these recipes stretch better and go further. And there are no points in things like, well, most veggies. Definitely no points in lettuce. Okay, I've got that mixed in there. Now I'm gonna take my meat mixture here, and I'm gonna add that in and mix it in. All right, I've got this meat mixture pretty well mixed in here. I think the last time I made this, I used a really large metal bowl and it worked a whole lot better than this one. So just a little tip, if you're making this and you want to get a decent amount of lettuce in there, then you probably want a little bigger bowl than this guy. This is just a Pyrex. I don't know what size it is, but clearly not big enough. But now that I've got that kind of down a little bit, I'm gonna try to add the rest of this bag of lettuce just because I want it in there. It'll be a little messy, but I'm gonna get her in there. Okay, I'm admitting defeat with this bowl. It is not gonna work. So I went and got my big metal one that I used the last time I did this. This one's prettier, but this one is definitely easier to use. So I'm gonna take this and dump it all in here. And then I'm gonna get this all mixed up nicely. All right, I mixed that up in that metal bowl and I transferred it back into this bowl just because, you know, it's prettier. And then here I've got my 4 ounces is what I'm gonna be using, or is what I factored into the recipe builder. 4 ounces of Doritos. I'm gonna just kind of break those up a little bit to little smaller pieces. About like that. You can do bigger or smaller, whatever it is that you prefer. Now, at this point, you would typically take these and pour them into here and mix this all together. But I'm not gonna do that because there's only 3 of us and we're not gonna eat all of this. This makes 14 1-cup servings. So we're not gonna eat all 14 servings of this between the 3 of us right away. So instead of mixing it together, I'm just going to try to add roughly a 1/14 of this, I guess, to each serving. And actually, we'll probably do more than 1 cup serving. So we'll probably do 2 cup servings. So I'm gonna just try to spread this evenly between the servings the best I can. Obviously, if you're making this for a larger group of people, it's a whole lot easier to just dump this in and mix it all together, and then you have to try to figure out, you know, how much of this to put on each one. But I will show you here in a second this plated up and how I top mine. Here I've got roughly a 1 cup serving. It might be a little bit more, but a 1 cup serving of this, and I went ahead and weighed out a 1/14 of those Doritos, mixed those in, added a little fat-free Greek yogurt, which is 0 points, some tomato, some cilantro, and that is what it's looking like. I think it's looking pretty good. Like I said, it's a whole lot easier to mix those chips in if you're gonna eat this all in one setting, but if you're not, those chips are gonna get super soggy. So I wouldn't suggest mixing them all in unless you're gonna eat it right away. But this stuff is delicious. It's something that I've eaten since I was a kid, at least some version of it anyway. And it's fun to take recipes like that and just make little changes to them to make them much more Weight Watcher friendly. And I don't think I mentioned that the cheese was one of the things that made this a lot more Weight Watcher friendly too. Just using less fat cheese made a huge difference. But that is my version of lightened up taco salad. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.